Good morning. I'm very happy to be here from GemTalk Systems. Wanted to thank you for coming today. Part of our focus at GemTalk is to talk to people like you, young people who are looking at technology and looking at why Smalltalk is a language that you might be very interested in. My presentation is about what people are doing with the product around the world and how it's used in business, so that you can see the translation from technology to business in the real world. I think Stefan touched on this in his presentation, but it has to be meaningful. It has to be something that people use and that enterprises use to run their businesses. The Smalltalk language is the most powerful language on the planet, and if it's used properly, can outperform IBM, Oracle, any large database in relational technology. Because as most of you will probably learn, relational systems are built in rows and columns, but objects are pure, and objects work together much better. What that means for businesses is that you can develop faster, you can iterate faster, you can change faster to the business needs, and you can scale even more powerfully than a relational database. The Gemstone system we'll talk about today is written in 64-bit also, which is the most powerful implementation of Smalltalk anywhere in the world. And we can actually run terabytes of data in memory. So you can get a very large device and put a very large database in memory. And as you probably know in computer science, if you're running in memory, you're running as close to the metal as possible. So you're running the fastest compute you can get. So basically what Gemstone does is Gemstone is a Smalltalk database. And it basically gives businesses Google-like power. And when you think about Google, when you search, it actually predicts what it thinks you want. And that's complex event query. That's very complex mathematics. After you hit the transmit key, that request goes to the speed of light up to a Google farm in the United States. That's a virtualized rack of memory, stack and rack blades, and you get that request back in less than a millisecond. Okay, think about that. Faster than you can blink your eye, you get that request back from Google. That's very complex math. And think about 10,000 people asking for the same thing at the same time. Okay? That's what this product does. This product does that in Smalltalk. That's what we're here to talk about today. What I'm going to do is also talk a little bit about some of our customers here in Argentina. And I know I'm asking a couple of you to say a few brief words. Leandro, if you think about a few words you might say about Caesar. Maximilio, some words about Mercap. We have a customer here, Telecom Argentina. So the Smalltalk is here in Argentina, and Argentina is a very strong foundation for Smalltalk, one of the stronger in the world. So it's a very good place for incubation of Smalltalk. Gemstone's been around quite a long time, and we were one of the early Smalltalk engineering companies up just north of California in a state called Oregon. Oregon is between Seattle, Washington, which is Microsoft, and the Silicon Valley. We call it the Silicon Forest because we have big fir trees there. And we built a lot of technology from Microsoft and Tektronix Labs and Intel, which are in those states north of California, Oregon, and Washington. So Gemstone was founded in 1982 to build Smalltalk object-oriented database. This was before Java. Java didn't come till 1997, many years later. But from 1982 to 1997, we deployed some of the largest implementations on the planet in Smalltalk. We also built Java technologies. We have a Java front-end graphical interface as well as Smalltalk. And Smalltalk is actually turning out to be even more powerful today. We're seeing growth because it's a superior language over Java, and a lot of companies are realizing the power of Smalltalk or coexisting with Java. So we've been a very resilient company. Because we were such good at technology, we were acquired a couple of times. Once in 2000, if you all remember the dot-com explosion, and in 2000 there were a lot of acquisitions going on, and you really didn't have to have a very strong business plan. If you had technology that looked promising, people wanted to buy it, and so they came to buy us, and I was one of the founders there. And we had what I call some drunken sailors that were out shopping. One was from Germany called Brocat, and one was from the United States called Blaze Software. And they together paid us $285 million for a company that was doing $24 million. So they paid us 12 times the value of the company to acquire our company. A year later, their stock went from $120 to $1, and they were forced to divest all of their acquisitions. I raised my hand and bought it back in a management buyout so that we could save all of our good engineers before they were fired. We then rebuilt the company again, both in Smalltalk, which was strategic, and Java. And the Java product got the attention of VMware. I don't know if you know that company. They're an up-and-coming Silicon Valley company. Got quite large in the last 10 years. They went from 0 to 6 billion in 10 years. So very large virtualization company. They bought Gemstone, and they really looked at the GemFire product. The Smalltalk product, it turns out, if you follow VMware, it's like an aircraft carrier. They made a shift in their strategy, and when these big companies buy companies, which they do a lot of, VMware bought 18 companies last year. Microsoft bought 22 companies. Oracle bought 27 companies. They buy a lot of companies, and they onboard them onto this aircraft carrier that I call these big companies. Well, some survive, some are jettisoned off, some are survive and flourish, some are put in the corner. And it just depends on what the strategy is of the company at the time. Well, I was on board to make sure our employees were all taken care of, and they looked at a strategic change going into cloud computing. And so they decided to keep the GemFire product, which was our Java product, and said the Smalltalk product wasn't as strategic. So they weren't going to invest in it. And I said, well, we'll invest in it. We'd like to take it back, which we did in May. And our focus is Smalltalk. It's a very strong company. And I'd like to talk about what we've done with it. So GemTalk Systems is Gemstone. And, these are our chief engineers. These are our core engineers. You notice they have some gray hair. They're very seasoned. We have 3 of them here today. If you'd stand up, Martin, James, and Dale. Or you can see their nice pictures up there if you look at them closely. These are some of our strongest engineers that help build the product. We have 7 patents and about 14 trademarks in Smalltalk. And this core engineering team built the company. We're very proud of them. And that is what built this Google-like power in Smalltalk. VMware acquired the company. It was a very good acquisition or divestiture. The senior vice president of VMware felt that Smalltalk was in its best hands with these engineers rather than being on the aircraft carrier. So I kind of like to say that GemTalk is more of an America's Cup vessel. It's more of a sailing ship. It's very fast, very nimble, and can navigate very quickly, as opposed to a large multi-billion-dollar aircraft carrier. So we're going to be much better servicing our customers because we're small and nimble, smaller and nimble, and our customers appreciate that. So let's talk just a little bit about what we're doing in Argentina. I'd like to start with Mercap. Maximilio, Mercap is right in Buenos Aires, has built Smalltalk systems and for the business. Maximilio, can you say a few words? It's all right.
I'll just
just have him hand it back.
Financial software, okay, for 15 years. What we've been doing for like the last, I think, 5-7 years.
You can talk in Spanish if you want. You can say it in Spanish if you want. Go ahead. Spanish is fine if you want for the students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Bueno, so for the students.
Yeah.
Okay. Bueno, acá hace software financiero, okay, hace más de 15 años, exclusivamente remoto. Sirve software, digamos, a bancos, empresas que hacen inversiones, en Argentina, en distintas provincias, en Sudamérica, en Perú, en República Dominicana, también ha vendido en Uruguay, y lo que tiene es productos que usan Gemstone, que lo usan y que, digamos, ganan bastante de eso, porque es la posibilidad de desentenderse de la parte de base de datos, es la persistencia de la maneja Gemstone, es mantener los objetos, o sea, trabajamos con sponsor, o sea que estemos programando en la ventana cuando se persiste sin tener que estarse preocupando por una parte que no sea objetos. El producto es objeto desde la persistencia hasta lo que ve el usuario, ¿sí? Bueno, es una ventaja que nos ha dado porque nos permite trabajar más fácil, nos permite pensar mejor, transmitir nuestras ideas al código más fácil, y la verdad que nos sirve un montón y estamos agradecidos, digamos, por el trabajo que hace la gente de GemTalk.
Thank you, Maxman. The financial industry is one of our strong industries, as you can imagine. Looking at complex data, looking at trading systems, looking at risk. Two of our largest customers we'll talk about later is JP Morgan in London and Union Bank of Switzerland in Zurich. We'll talk a little bit more about them. Those are very large customers. Mercap's building a business on the same kind of strong financial technology. Leandro, I'd like to see if you could say a few words. We have also Caesar Systems, which is also an Argentinian oil and gas company.
Okay. Bueno, yo actualmente estoy trabajando para Caesar Systems, que ahora voy a hablar un poquito de eso, pero quería decir también que en una ley anterior vimos que la compañía cambió de Serbio a Gemstone. En el 95, en esa época, Valeria y yo empezamos a trabajar con Gemstone y lo usábamos para compañías que venden productos de consumo masivo, o sea, alimentos, ¿no? Diferentes compañías en general de alimentos. Entonces son miles de facturas por día. Cada factura tiene, no sé, 10, 20 ítems. ¿Está bien? Cada objeto era un ítem. O sea, enorme cantidad de ítems que tienen que ser analizados para saber cómo van las ventas, a dónde van, dónde hay problemas, cómo están los vendedores, cómo están los productos. Todo eso lo hacíamos con Gemstone. ¿Está bien? La segunda cosa que lo usamos fue para compañías, para seguros. Trabajamos para la Superintendencia de Seguros y todas las pólizas de todos los autos de la Argentina estaban en un sistema que usaba Gemstone. Cuando uno piensa que es un objeto por auto, pero no, porque las pólizas van sufriendo novedades y renovaciones, así que la cantidad de objetos explota, no solo por la cantidad de autos, sino por la cantidad de novedades. ¿Está bien? Lo mismo para los seguros de RT, de trabajo, digamos, uno por trabajador, con novedades, etcétera, etcétera. Base de datos gigantescas. En la actualidad estamos trabajando ya hace unos años para una compañía que hace software para la industria petrolera. En la industria petrolera el software que hacemos nosotros es para planificación de proyectos que duran 40, 50 o 100 años. Y la cantidad de datos no es tan grande como en los otros casos, pero la cantidad de disciplinas que hay que integrar en el software es enorme y los proyectos son de miles de millones de dólares, o sea que la cantidad de puntos de vista y de responsabilidades es crítica. ¿Está bien? Entonces, aquí están hablando de Gemstone como algo muy poderoso, y yo un poco estoy refrendando eso, muy poderoso, que maneja grandes cantidades de datos y qué sé yo, pero como dijo Maximiliano recién, no es eso lo que nos interesa a nosotros como desarrolladores. Lo que nos interesa como desarrolladores es la simplicidad con la que puedo manejar todo eso. Entonces yo como smalltalker me siento en deuda con el equipo de Gemstone. Ellos son mis héroes y creo que la comunidad de smalltalk le debe un tributo importantísimo a este equipo de ingenieros que durante 31 años estuvieron haciendo algo extraordinario. Y me da vergüenza cuando le tengo que explicar a otros montones por qué él tiene que usar GemTalk y no otra cosa. Porque debería ser obvio.
You will learn that.
That was very compelling. We have another customer here. Is anyone here from Telecom Argentina by chance? Could you speak a little bit about what you're doing at Telecom Argentina? It's a very powerful application for the inventory management systems.
Bueno, buenos días a todos, mi nombre es Flavio, yo estoy acá con Sergio, somos de Telecom. Les cuento un poquito rapidito de lo que tenemos. Nosotros trabajamos con un sistema que se llama Condis. Condis es de Siemens Austria lo construyó. Y, a ver, no me esperaba para acá en esta posición. Yo empecé a trabajar en la compañía en 2007 y este sistema ya estaba operativo desde el 2001. Estos sistemas core de la compañía son Core 7x24. Es un sistema de inventario de las redes. Nosotros ahí tenemos toda la información de los servicios que tienen nuestros clientes, o sea, los abonados. Es un sistema que participa en la consulta de la venta. Tenemos, por ejemplo, cuando en un call center una persona te atiende para tomar el servicio, para venderte el servicio de ADSL, ese sistema que está usando el operario consulta sobre nuestra base de datos para saber si hay una disponibilidad de puertos, para eso un poco más técnico, si hay una disponibilidad de puertos en la central para poder tener el servicio. ¿A qué voy con esto? Que nuestro sistema necesita una alta velocidad de respuesta para la gente que hace la consulta de la venta, porque si no pierde tiempo y con eso puede significar el fracaso de lo que están haciendo. Y además nuestro sistema se relaciona con muchas otras partes de la compañía que realizan todo lo que es la facturación y un montón de otras cosas. Por lo cual, desde el punto de vista del negocio, es muy importante. GemTalk, nosotros tenemos todos nuestros modelos de datos en la base. Y bueno, un poco coincidiendo con lo que decía Leandro, desde el punto de vista del desarrollador, nos facilita un montón la tarea que hacemos diaria, porque digamos, nuestro negocio es muy dinámico. Hoy en día tenés un equipo que está modelado y tiene cierto comportamiento, y al otro día tenés otro equipo que con una tecnología nueva que se comporta de forma totalmente distinta y nos permite en un tiempo muy corto tener un nuevo equipo ya modelado en nuestro sistema para el servicio del cliente. Así que bueno, eso es lo que hacemos en Telecom con GemTalk. Gracias.
And Telecom Argentina is converting to 64-bit next week. I don't know if that was mentioned, but they have a 32-bit platform with Siemens. They're converting to 64-bit. James Foster is here to provide consulting to help with that one. I think we have one more speaker here.
Yes. Buen día, mi nombre es Cortés. Quería comentarles que en el año 2005 fui convocado por el Ministerio de Educación para hacer un sistema que estaban desarrollando en un grupo, no usando los evangelios, y no llegamos a resultar. El sistema era bastante complejo porque era la reivindicación de todos los componentes salariales, de todos los maestros, de todos los cargos, de todas las Argentina, por todos los distintos. Lo que desarrollé fue un sistema web, que venimos desarrollando la web, y decidí usar clase. Y bueno, el sistema actualmente funcionando, funciona casi como un armador de fórmulas, uno arranca cosas armando componentes, y con un corpus hay componentes que tienen otros componentes que son componentes y a la vez, bueno, alguna vez si alguien vio la factura del sueldo de un maestro, se da cuenta que tiene muchos, pero muchos ítems, las películas en forma de recuperar o de dar incentivos, agregar componentes que son de incentivo al maestro de grado o al maestro del primer año, son muchísimos los componentes. Tienen una durabilidad en el tiempo, lo cual el sistema también permite verlo, ver tal componente o qué pasaría si yo un componente de tal día a tal día, porque los componentes tienen, como son por decretos legales, eso habla un poco de la complejidad del sistema. Bueno, con el soporte de GemTalk, con el soporte del equipo de ingenieros, tenemos sobre todo lo ponemos la bien, y bueno, en el caso de quería comentarlo porque eso está bastante grande.
So the message there is that you students can build a career in Smalltalk. You have the opportunity to join companies in Argentina. I'll show you several other profiles, some of our large companies around the world. But you can be involved in a language that is running business. And I think it's something you should think about as you pursue your careers. It's much funner than relational. So just a little bit of a transition here. Gemstone runs 20% of the world's shipping containers. So if you think about these three companies, they together have 20% of the world's shipping containers. When you go to ports, you see those logos on the containers, sometimes coming through Rosario, sometimes in Buenos Aires off the ports. We run the entire shipping company with Gemstone Smalltalk. And we use, in this case, we have partners here with Visual Age, Visual Works, of course, Seaside's open source, Faro, we want to talk about. But this works with client software, right, that you design to the database. So if you look at this ship here, we just don't run an application, we run the company. So if you think about that ship, we run 370 of these ships around the world that stack and rack 8 stories high containers full of everything. We manage every content by design, by RFID, by profit, 90 days ahead of any competitor. Because we do it like Google. We know every device, every component, every port, every customs law, 90 days ahead of any competitor. That's why this is the most powerful system in the world for shipping. It's kind of a FedEx of the shipping business. Okay? If you think about how fast Smalltalk reacts, when we had 9/11, all those customs changes came rippling through the world on the ports, port of entry, customs security. We were the first ones to make those changes in Smalltalk and ripple through the system within 3 weeks. Most competitors took 6 months to a year to even think about making those changes in a relational system. Okay, that's the power of Smalltalk. If you have a typhoon out in the ocean, we can vector that ship, stack and rack it, move those containers real time, and adjust to shipping port changes faster than any competitor who have to stay out in the ocean sometimes for weeks to wait for the rest of the containers.
Does GemTalk maintain that software or is the customers?
They're using so we're infrastructure software. Gemstone, and they built 19 applications on top of that infrastructure to run logistics, tracking, content, profit, finance. They run an entire company on the software, not just an application. So these are multi-billion-dollar shipping companies, each with 150 vessels to 200 vessels. And together they run about 20% of the world's containers. So this vertical is very strong for us. In financial and trading, we mentioned J.P. Morgan, UBS. ICE is the Intercontinental Exchange. That's the largest electronic trading platform in the world. They took the Enron business, if you recall, when Enron collapsed. They do all the Brent crude and oil trading on the planet. And they bought the International Petroleum Exchange in London, and they're looking to buy the New York Stock Exchange actually on this system. And this is running Gemstone for trading and front-end management. Okay, very powerful platform. Momentum is down in South Africa. We were just there last month. They're part of the RAND Merchant Group. They do a lot of wealth management and insurance applications in South Africa. So if you think about what I said earlier, this is a trading desk at JP Morgan in London. That's run on Gemstone. In this case, they use VisualWorks. They run 6,000 trades per second. Okay? System cannot go down. This is a global liquidity system, exotic derivatives. And they have quantum mechanics that make rapid and daily changes to the system for looking at new exotics and derivatives trading systems for credits and exotic derivatives. A lot of concurrency control going on here. A lot of referential integrity, a lot of speed. We're doing this in millisecond trades, 6,000 per second on Gemstone. It's the strongest database in the world and the most resilient. We get the #1 rating from JP Morgan over IBM and Oracle for database. Support and scalability and resistance, strength, has never gone down. Okay? Very important for you to know how powerful this is if it's used properly. We do a lot in manufacturing. This is a clean room at Texas Instruments. Texas Instruments runs 8 wafer fabs around the world on Smalltalk. We do all of the works processing, wafer fab, silicon processing. We do the inventory management, the reporting in these clean rooms around the world at Texas Instruments. This system can't go down either. We only do maintenance once a year at Christmas for 30 minutes. That's how much time we have. Because every minute the wafer fab is down is $30,000. That's how much it costs them if it's down. So it cannot go down. We've been there since 1985, never gone down. And we do maintenance 30 minutes a year. That's all the time we have. So you can imagine how important that is to them.
How old is the Gemstone running there?
They're one of our first customers, 1988, I think, 88 time frame.
That is the same, or you get to update it in the 30 minutes during Christmas?
Oh, yeah. Well, they haven't gone to 64-bit yet. That's how...
Right.
We're trying to... They're 2 of the last holdouts to 64-bit because they don't want to stop. And it's so reliable at 32-bit, but we keep telling them, you've got to go to 64. It's even better. And they go, well, this is good enough. We don't want to change. So we still have to convince them. In utilities, we do Florida Power and Light. This is a good story. So, I mean, the point here is it can be used across multiple vertical technologies because it's infrastructure software, very powerful infrastructure. You can build on top of it. So, Florida Power and Light is the largest utility in Florida. And when hurricanes hit Florida, as you've probably all read, Katrina, for example, everything goes crazy. So this system does the trouble call management system for all of Florida. And during Hurricane Katrina, the IBM and Oracle systems crashed. They couldn't handle the load. Thousands and thousands of calls per minute coming in from customers. Houses are down, electricity's down, trees on the roof, everything. Our system never went down, got the #1 rating from the CIO at Florida Power and Light. Our trouble call management system held up during the complete hurricane and dispatched every call that was requested of it. Okay, that's the difference. The system was very powerful. And they're a good customer and also a long-term customer. And we talked about Telecom Argentina earlier. So, when you're running inventory and cable management and other telecom environments with Siemens, which is a large partner of ours. So Siemens has Telecom Argentina, but they have multiple other telecom companies that they have sold this application to. And again, this has gone to 64-bit, and Telecom Argentina is now moving to 64-bit, which is which is excellent because that will cause a telecom ripple effect throughout the world on the other companies that will update to 64-bit, which will make it even more resilient for other companies to continue to invest. We met the CIO earlier this week, Roxana Lafroc, and that was a very good meeting. Very, very much committed to Gemstone and GemTalk. And of course, government. I know you've heard about the NSA. We work with the NSA. I don't think we're tapping your phones today, but I don't know. I'm not sure. But the Canadian government and the government bodies, again, they like to use this. After 9/11, we helped the NSA look for bad people really fast. Okay, so you can imagine doing a correlation, looking for bad people that want to hurt other people. So that's just another use case of trying to help. The government of Canada uses it for all the border control. So the Canadian Border Securities Agency uses GemTalk for all border control. We use them for the correctional institutes and prison management, and we use them for Canadian Securities Establishment, which does electronic intelligence and signals intelligence for Canada. So this is another vertical, and the Canadian government likes us a lot. So we do a lot with the Canadian government. We have the big partners. We talk about IBM and Oracle, but we have, a lot of our companies use Oracle or IBM as a database for archiving and reporting. So we like to say that we coexist with IBM and Oracle, and many of these applications they can be 3-tier, Oracle, Gemstone, GemTalk with a client, and you can use Oracle or IBM for reporting and archiving. That makes people feel more comfortable sometimes in the big companies, so they say, we use IBM even though they're really using GemTalk. But the database of process during the day, we call the data in motion. The data that's happening in real time is GemTalk, and then at the end of the day it goes up to IBM for archiving and reporting. And a lot of customers makes them more comfortable to tell their boards that they have IBM or Oracle. So we use that as I call it a flanking strategy. We use that to appease and to coexist with companies that have and want to make what they think is a safe decision, but we allow them to do that and still use us for the real work. Okay, that's part of our strategy. Of course, Stefan, I see Faro here. We're looking to strengthen our relationship with Faro. We really like what you're doing, and we'd like to help you monetize that and actually create business value, which you mentioned in your presentation. So our engineers are looking to work more closely with you in the future. And of course, our other partners, Instantiations is here, John O'Keefe, one of the great instantiations executives, and of course we've worked with Syncom and others. You can see Mercap and some of our other partners that we talked about earlier. I'm here because I care about the community. I care about what we're doing to teach young people about Smalltalk. We invest in the community. We go around the world to the major conferences. We've always been a good, strong participant. And we want to do more with the universities and internships. We're going to start looking at that in the company in the coming days and months. So I think I'll pretty much wrap up here. I think the other thing is the open source. Of course, we look closely at that. And Glass is one that we implemented at Gemstone. That's Gemstone, Linux, Apache, Smalltalk, Seaside. A lot of words. But it's an implementation that is basically open source or freeware that you can start for free. So we have a free package at Gemstone. And you can go up to a certain level before we charge you for CPUs when you have a real business that's making money. Then we'd like a little money too. But before then, we give you the free implementation. Seaside is open source client software like Faro. And you've seen some good open source client implementations. And so people say, sometimes I go around and people say Smalltalk is not a growing language. Smalltalk missed out to Java, and that's just not true. These languages all coexist around the world just like they do today in relational systems and in Java systems. Smalltalk has its user community, it has its customers around the world, and very successful implementations. We see new customers. We see customers that are growing through our value-added reseller channel, like the growth that you would see at Mercap or the growth at Caesar or Telecom Argentina. As it grows, they require more licenses or new customers. That's a growth. Part of our growth strategy is through our channels. We have people upgrading that I mentioned earlier. We do professional service. Mergers and acquisitions, a lot of these big shipping companies will merge over the coming years, which will create more Gemstone usage as they merge with other shipping companies. Expansion in China. We've just been in China and they've invited us back to do a seminar for, this number is kind of incredible, but 500 CIOs. And they want us to come to Shanghai and present GemTalk to 500 CIOs. And COSCON, which is the China Ocean Shipping Company, is sponsoring this. And they're going to bring the audience, and they want to do it for the country of China. So they're going to bring healthcare, railway systems that they think are very primitive, and see if they can get them working in Smalltalk with GemTalk and others to bring them up out of a somewhat primitive state. Okay, well, I just wanted to pass that information along and let you know that we're here to flourish and stay in this business. And we're very excited about our customers. We're excited about young people looking at this as a serious career path. And I want to thank you for your time before I turn it over to Norm Green. Thank you.